Dear students, good morning to one and all. Today we are going to discuss the error detection codes topic, which is the last topic of your part 2, that is data representation. As you know very well that unit 1 contains total 3 parts. So with today's session, we will be coming to an end of part 2, and from the next session we will discuss about the part 3. So error detection codes. So what is error? You know very well, whenever we are sending the data, if the data that is sent from the sender is same as that of the data received at the receiver end, then we can say that there is no error. Otherwise, if we are sending some data and the receiver is receiving another different data, definitely there is a mismatch of data occurs. So this is called as error. So here, how to detect an error? Okay, how to identify an error, we will see in this today's session. So generally, you know very well that our digital computers used to transmit data in the form of binary, which we are keep on repeatedly discussing. Okay, so when I say that a bit, for example 1011, let us take an example 1011 I am transmitting. If at a receiver end the same 1011 is received, then you can say the data is reached to the destination without any error. Or otherwise, any of the bit in this 1011, any of the bit, say the starting one is converted to 0 and is transmitted and reached at the destination, then instead of receiving 1011, the destination part is receiving 0011, which is wrong data. So transmitted binary information is subject to noise. Here noise means error, disturbance, not the actual data is being transmitted. So why and how this noise is happened is just because of change in 1 to 0 or 0 to 1. If any 1 bit is changed to 0 or 0 bit is changed to 1, total the data will be collapsed. So this is called as an error. So this error detection code is a binary code. Error detection code is a binary code that detects digital errors during the transmission. Digital errors, not analog errors, because all the analog signals are converted to digital and will be transmitted from source end to destination. So while transmitting, if there are any errors, then this error detection code will be useful for detecting that error. So, but you remember here, whatever the errors that are detected cannot be corrected by using this error detection code. Remember, I am repeating, the errors that are detected with this method cannot be corrected. Only they can prompt that the data is to be retransmitted. You got my point? If the destination data receives is a wrong data, then it will just prompt the source that we received a wrong data, please send again, please retransmit again the data. Only that prompt can be given, but the error cannot be corrected by using this error detection code. How it is going to happen and what is the logic behind this error detection code, we will go through in detail here. So as we have discussed now, error detection codes are used to detect the errors present in the received data stream. These codes contain some bits which are included to the original bit. Actually, if as we discussed now, if you are going to transfer a 3-bit data 101, a 3-bit data 101. So for that 3-bit data 101, we will add one more extra bit. Which is useful for detecting an error. So these codes contain some bits which are appended to the original bit. Now our original bit is 101. For that, an extra bit will be appended. These codes detect the error if it is occurred during the transmission of the original data bit stream. Any error occurs, then they will detect. If not, simply the data will be transmitted to the destination. So there are some examples of error detection codes. One among them is parity code. The second one is Hamming code. As per our syllabus is restricted, we will have a discussion about the parity code method of error detection. So here, what do you mean by parity and how to generate a parity? The most common error detection method we have told is parity bit method. So actually, what is a parity bit? So a parity bit is defined as, it is an extra bit. A parity bit is defined as that it is an extra bit included with the original message. Whatever the original message we are transmitting, with that this parity bit will be added as an extra bit. So how it is added? So while you are going to add this parity bit, we have to make sure that the total number of ones are either odd numbers or even numbers in the original data. I am repeating. When you are going to add this parity bit to the original data, we have to make sure that the total number of ones in the original data are odd or even. So if they are odd, then we can say it is a odd parity, and if the number of ones is even, we can say it is a even parity. In the next slide, we will discuss the difference between this odd parity method and even parity method, and how we generate a parity. Then it is not a blind and it is not assumed, okay, you go ahead, you add either 1 or 0 at end. Nothing like that. There is a prescribed procedure for generating a parity bit and checkers. So, parity generators and checkers are constructed with XOR gates. So, once again, you have to recall the XOR gate truth table, where if 2 bits are 0, 0, and then output will be 1, if 2 bits 1 or 0, the output will be something different. So that you will get from the truth table of the XOR gate. Okay, a odd function generates 1. Remember, a odd function generates 1 if and only if odd number of input variables are 1. I told you previously, odd parity and even parity. An odd function generates 1 if and only if odd number of input variables are 1 in the given stream. How it is going to generate, we will see in the coming slides. See the P bit. P bit here is, P stands for parity bit. The parity bit is chosen to make the sum of ones in all 4 bits as odd. In all 4 bits as odd. Odd means if you have 1101, 1101, 3 ones are there. So odd. 1001, 2 ones are there, it is even. Like that we can go ahead with odd parity or even parity. Okay, the even parity scheme has the disadvantage of having a bit combination of all zeros. So what is the major disadvantage of this even parity is, if the input is 0, 0, 0, 0, so there are no ones in that. So adding all the sum of ones and finding out whether it is odd or even, we cannot. That's why there is a disadvantage of this even parity scheme for the input values of all zeros. So how to perform the procedure of adding this parity generator bit to the original data while we are transmitting. So here there are certain steps are given. Just to have a look about those steps. At the sending end means the input data. Sending end, sender will have the input data. So at the sending end, the message is applied to a parity generator. So here, before we are transmitting the input data, we will generate a parity bit. Remember, we will generate a parity bit. That parity bit will be added to the original input. Okay, after adding the parity generator, that message including the parity bit is transmitted using the bus. You know, the data will be transmitted with the help of a bus, data bus. Okay, so before sending the input, a parity generator will be generated, and by adding that parity bit to the input, the total data will be transmitted through the bus to the destination from the source. Fine. Sender part is over. Then coming to the receiver part. At the receiving end, all the incoming bits are applied to a parity checker. parity checker, there is one more circuit will be available at the receiver end. With the help of that parity checker, all the incoming bits are applied to the parity checker and any odd number of errors are detected. If you follow even parity method, if any odd number of errors are there, it will be detected. So with the help of two circuits, they are parity generator at source end and parity checker at the receiving end, we will perform identifying the errors, that is detecting the errors. So what are those circuits and how we generate the formula, we will go through in the next slide. So this parity system is the simplest method for error detection, as I told you. One parity bit attached to the information, as we have discussed previously. In this slide, we have taken an example. Okay, that bit, what we are adding, that one parity bit, what we are attaching to the information can be treated as even parity or odd parity. It may be either even or it may be odd. Anything we can follow. Okay, but what the method the sender is following must be known to the receiver. What even parity or odd parity, whatever it is, what is the method that is being followed by the sender should be known to the receiver to check out. Okay, just see the example. Even parity, as I told you, one bit is attached to the information, one bit is attached to the information so that the total number of 1 bits is an even number. That is called as even parity method. I am repeating again, one bit is attached to the information so that the total number of 1 bits is an even number. Let us take an example. You know very well, we are following a standard code, that is ASCII code in the present computer systems. So as per that, the original input given here in the example is 1011001. 1011001. Now we have to add one more extra bit which is to be considered as a even parity. What I told you, even parity, in the even parity method, all the ones in the data should be even number. So in the 7 digits, how many ones are there? 4 ones are there. 4 ones means even number of ones are there. So that's why to make it as a even parity, we add a extra 0. Even after adding extra 0 also, the total number of ones should be even only. So here in the even parity method, you have to check out how many number of ones are there in the original data. If the number of ones in the original data is even, add 0 to make it as even parity. Or else you take the second number, 7-bit number, 101010. In this input, there are 3 ones are there. 3 ones means odd number of ones. Odd number of ones are there. But what procedure we are following? Even parity method. So in the even parity method, the number of ones should be even number. So because in the original input, there are 3 ones, we will add one more extra 1 value, one more extra 1 bit, bit 1, to make the total ones as even number. Total ones as even number. Previously, already in the input, even number of ones are there, so we added 0. But in the second example, odd number of ones are there. To make it as even, we added one more extra bit with the value of 1. This is called as even parity method, and how you are going to add extra bit in the even parity method. In the second one, odd parity method. It is purely vice versa, or the complement of your even parity. So in this odd parity method, one bit is attached to the information so that the total number of 1 bits is an odd number. It should be an odd number. So same example, you take the just previous one, as it is given 1011001. 1011001. How many ones are there in this input? 4 ones are there. But what is our concept? We should make it as odd ones. So should be 5 ones. So because it is odd parity method, so we are going to add an extra bit with the equivalent value of 1. Total together it gives 5 ones. It gives 5 ones. So this is called as odd parity. In the second example, you take 1 0 1 0 0 1 0 1 0 1 0 0 1 0, which contains odd number of ones in the input itself. Odd number of ones in the input itself. So as already odd number of ones are there, as an extra parity bit we add 0 without not to make any change. Not to make any change. So if you observe the even parity and the odd parity for the same input values, the parity bit is toggled, means changed. In the even parity method, first example, if you add extra bit as 0, for the same input in the odd parity method, we have added extra bit as 1. The second example also you see, in the even parity method, if you added 1 as parity bit, in the odd parity method, you added 0 as parity bit. So that's why just even parity, once if you calculate out, then it is very easy to generate the odd parity. Means it is simply vice versa. It is complement of even parity. Okay. So just you look at this table for combination of data for odd parity and even parity. See messages. The original message is 0 0 0. Assume to convert it as into odd parity, the total should be odd number of ones. That's why 3 zeros are there. And odd parity bit is called as added 1, whereas even parity it is 0 only, because if you add 1 there, it will not be even, it will become as odd. That's why we added 0. And second combination 0 0 1, already 1 is there in the original data. To convert it as odd parity, we add 0 as an extra bit and 1 as extra bit for even parity. Like that. The last one, for example, see 3 ones are there. 3 ones that contains already odd number of ones. Already odd number of ones. So an odd parity we add 0 because already odd number of ones are there. But to make it as even parity, we should add 1 so that all 4 ones will be there in the input. So this is the way. Just I have taken example of only 3 bits. Even for the, it is same procedure for 4 bit, 5 bit, 6 bit, 7 bit also. First, whatever the input is given to you, you check out the number of ones in the input, the number of ones in the input. That is the first point. And the second point, you decide whether you are following even parity method or odd parity method. That is the second point. After deciding, say, now you are ready to follow even parity, assume. Then, after counting the number of ones, if the number of ones in the original data are already even, then in the even parity method, bit will be 0. Otherwise, if the number of ones in the original input are odd number, then by using with the even parity process, you have to add one more extra one to make all the ones as even number. This is the way how you generate a parity bit. Now, just we go through a simple circuit for generating parity bits. There are 2 diagrams are given there, which are using 2 XOR gates in the first diagram and 1 XOR and an XNOR gate in the second diagram. So the formula for even parity is given over there. B even. B stands for binary even bit. Binary even bit. So as I told you, there are 7 bits are there in the input. By following the ASCII format, all the bits are from B0 to B6. The binary values are named as B0 to B6. Total together 7 bits. B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, B6. So for each bit, if you perform XOR operation, B6, that symbol stands for XOR. I think you know well. So B6 XOR B5, XOR B4, XOR B3, XOR B2, XOR B1, XOR B0. Whatever the result you will get, that will be the even parity. That will be the even parity. If in the 7 bits, if you have 3 ones and 4 zeros, 3 ones and 4 zeros, definitely you will get B even value as 1. Or else, if you have 4 ones and 3 zeros, then the B even value will become as 0. So that way, we will generate a even parity. As I told you in the previous slide, once if you generate even parity, it is very easy to generate odd parity. It is a complement of even. So given formula for B odd is two formulas are given, just B complement even. So B even is complemented. If B even you generate and you get 1, you make it as 0 to get a B odd. So there are 3 inputs are given, A, B, C, and A and C are given to XOR gate, and whatever the result you get, that will be given to one XOR gate, second one with the input as B. It is nothing but A XOR B XOR C, so that P even, parity even is generated. When in the second diagram, because we are generating parity odd, A and C are given to XOR, and whatever the result you get, that will be given to an XNOR gate if the second input has B. Then we will get the odd bit. Or else, sir, why should we go for this extra circuit? Even with the even parity circuit itself, by putting a NOT symbol, NOT symbol is you will get invert of the input value or output value, whatever it is. So if you put a NOT symbol at the output of the P even, then automatically P odd will be generated. So like that also you can generate the P odd bit. So this is the simplest circuit that you are going to use for even parities and odd parities method. So that is parity generated. But how to check a parity? How to check a parity? Just see, we have considered here odd parity method. Though here totally this diagram also basically contains 2 parts. One is parity generator and the second one is parity checker. So at the source end, please see, at the source end we have 3 bits, X, Y, Z. 3 input values are there. So as you see the previous diagram, the parity generator method, for the odd parity, we use one XOR gate and we use one XNOR gate. In the same way, here also the parity generator, the one XOR gate is given as 2 inputs, Y and Z, and whatever the output we generated, that output is as 1 input and the X as the second input. We gave that to the XNOR gate. Up to that point, we have generated a odd parity. So after generating the odd parity, as I told you, the data will be transmitted to the destination with this odd parity. The data is transmitted to the destination with this odd parity. Now, at the end of destination, at the source end, destination end, now we have to check out the parity, whether actually we received the data with the odd parity method or not. For that purpose, whatever the parity generated, odd parity, that and one of the input values will be given to XOR. And the remaining 2 inputs, Y and Z, are given to one more XOR. The 2 outputs of these 2 XOR gates are given to XNOR gate, which you will get a parity checker. So here error is indication. So if X, Y, Z and the error what you get, all the 4 numbers are in the odd parity method. All the 4 numbers are in the odd parity method, means the total number of ones are odd numbers, then you can say there is no error. If the 4 bits contains in the destination end is not following the odd parity, means even number of ones are there, you can easily say that there is an error, because you know very well that you are following the odd parity method while transmitting the data. This is the way how an error is generated and error is checked with the help of a odd parity bit method. Same circuit for even parity also. Instead of the XNOR gate, we use XOR gate for even parity method. Simple. The same diagram can be replaced by using XOR gate. Wherever we have used XNOR, that will be converted as a error detection with the even parity bit. Okay. Now, if you can see an 8-bit method. 8-bit means, as I told you, ASCII contains 7 bits with one even parity. So B0, in the previously I have given a formula to you. B1, B0, B1, B2, B3, B4, B5, all are given as XORs. Okay, all are given to XOR gates. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 XOR gates are used here to perform the XOR operation among 7 bits. The first XOR B0, B1, and second one is B2, B3, third one is B4, B5, like that. All the 7 bits are given as inputs to each and every XOR gate. At the end, even parity is generated. After generating even parity, how to check whether even parity is properly followed or not? For that purpose, with the help of these 7 bits and the even parity, all the 8 bits now given to XOR. I told you the previous one, you just see the previous one, odd parity method, XNOR is used at generator end and the checking end. And because in this odd parity method we have taken only 3 input values, whereas in this slide we are using 2 circuits. One is for parity generator and another one is for parity checker with 7 input data values, 7 bits of the input. So in the above diagram, in the parity generator circuit for the even parity, all the 7 bits are connected to XOR gates, and at the output end we generated even bit parity. And when you come to the parity checker position, that even parity what is generated also considered as one of the input, and all are again connected to XOR gates. There, end of the result, if you get all the number of ones in the original data are even, 1 will be generated there, otherwise 0 will be generated there. With that output of this parity checker, you can easily identify that whether there is an error or is there or not in the original data. So this is the way how a parity bit method is used for detecting an error, not rectifying. Please remember, detecting is different than rectifying. So in this parity bit, there are some disadvantages are there. One is this is used only to detect but not to rectify. Just simply transmits a signal to the sender that the data received is wrong, please send again. That's it. No change will be done to the data. No alteration should be done to the data. That is one of the disadvantages of this parity bit. And second disadvantage is this parity bit method is useful only a change of 1 bit in the original input. Change of 1 bit. For example, you see 100 is my input value, and I am following even parity method. So for the input 100, even parity method, if I follow, what number I should add at n? I have to add one more extra one to make total number of ones as 2 by even values. So my input now becomes as 1001. So if the same is transmitted to the destination, that 2 ones are there in the final data received, then it assumes that the correct data is received because it knows very well that we are following the even parity. But you just see here in the original data 100, the first one is converted as 0, and the second 0 in the middle value 0 is converted as 1. Now how that will become 010? So 100 will become as 010, and the number what you added is extra 1. So it received by destination as 0101. It knows very well even parity is used, but perhaps in 0101 also number of ones are even. In 0101 also number of ones are even. It means that the data is right? No. The data what we are supposed to send is 100 and with an extra parity bit as 1. So 1001. But because of 2 bits change, that input value converted as 0101 with even parity method successfully, but with wrong data. So the second disadvantage of this parity bit method is it can identify only if the change occurs in one position. it identify the only if the change occurs in one position. If more than one position, if the change is occurred, this parity bit process is failure in identifying the errors. Repeating again, the two disadvantages here is the one is the parity bit method cannot rectify the errors, only it identifies the error. First disadvantage. The second disadvantage is if the change in the input value occurs only once, that will be detected. If the change occurs more than one time, more than 2 bits are changed, then it is a 100% a failure process in error detecting. These are the two basic disadvantages of the parity bit method. To overcome these disadvantages, there are some other error detection codes are there, like Hamming code, etc., which we are not bothered as per our syllabus is prescribed. So with this, we have concluded the sixth topic, that is error detection codes of part 2, that is data representation in unit 1. So totally, as we know, unit 1 contains 3 parts. The first one is basic organization of a computers, that deals about basic system computer structure or structure of a computer, which describes about the hardware and software components of a computer. The second one describes about the generation of computers, which includes totally 5 generations of computers with all the disadvantages and advantages of all the computers. And third subtopic of part 1 is your bus structure, like how the data is transmitted from one place to other place, whether it is a data signals or control signals or address signals. Based on that, the total bus is classified as data bus, address bus and control bus. So how this bus is made up of, and if you want to design a bus, what are the various measures you have to take in, that also we have discussed in that as the third subtopic of the part 1. And coming to the second part, data representation, which again contains 6 subtopics in it. The first subtopic is data types. Basically, there we have discussed 4 data types. They are binary, decimal, octal, hexadecimal, where base for binary is 2, decimal base is 10, octal base is 8, hexadecimal base is 16. With all the possible combination of numbers also we have discussed there. And how to convert from one base to another base also we have given some examples. And also an assignment is given to you. Out of I think 45 students of your class, only 25 students were submitted the assignment till today. Yesterday is the last date for submitting assignment. So that's why the remaining 20 members may be allotted with less number of marks, as I told you already. Okay. The second subtopic in the data representation is complements. Here in the complements, R's complement and R minus 1's complement we have discussed for binary system and for the decimal system. So means for binary system 2's complement and 1's complement. For decimal system 10's complement and 9's complement. And how to perform additions and subtractions by using the R's and R minus 1's complements also we have discussed with some examples. And the third and fourth subtopics we have discussed in one session, which are fixed point representation and floating point representation. So floating point means decimal representation, and how to represent a number using floating point by using m into r power exponent, m into r power e, where m stands for mantissa, r stands for radix and e stands for exponent. And how to fix this mantissa and exponent also we have covered. Is it assumed or we can have any certain process also. And there is no change will be in radix. The same formula can be applicable for either binary or decimal representation. So in the fifth subtopic we have discussed about other binary codes, where these other binary codes are broadly categorized into two types. One is alphanumeric or non-numeric and numeric. When you come to alphanumeric codes, again there are ASCII and EBCDIC, American Standard Code for Information Interchange. Okay, EBCDIC, Extended Binary Coded Decimal for Information Code, International Code. So ASCII and EBCDIC are the best examples for alphanumeric codes. And that comes to the second category, numeric codes. The numeric codes basically again classified into weighted codes, non-weighted codes. Coming to weighted codes, 2421 and 8421 are called as weighted codes, and XS3 codes, gray codes, are called as non-weighted codes. Here 2421 and XS3 codes are also called as self-complementary codes, and gray code is called as a non-arithmetic. Gray code is a non-arithmetic code, and also it is called as a reflected code. It is also called as cyclic code, reflected code, cyclic code, non-arithmetic code. Like that, we call it as a gray code. So there are so many names are there for the gray code. In as a last subtopic of your part 2, today session we have discussed about error detection codes. So what is an error? How to detect an error? The procedure for following error detection is with the help of parity bit method. There are two types of parity bit methods are there. One is even parity and the second one is odd parity method. So the logic we are going to use here in this parity bit method is XOR gates and XNOR gates, and we have discussed two examples also how a parity bit is added to the original number, and diagrams also are explained to you in detail. One is for even parity and second one is for odd parity generator. And not only for the parity generator, we have discussed a circuit with parity checker also. After generating a parity, and that parity, it may be either even parity or it may be a odd parity. Whatever it is, that will be considered as one of the input with the original input value, and then parity checker is generated. Okay, so this way at the destination end we can identify whether data received by the destination is correct or not. But unfortunately, there are basic two disadvantages are there for this parity bit method. One of the disadvantages is it cannot rectify the error, only identifies the error. And second one is if the change in the original input occurs more than one position, then this parity bit method will be a failure model. To overcome this, there are some other error detection codes are discussed like Hamming code, etc., etc. After completion of entire syllabus within a stipulated time, within a prescribed time, if possible, even though Hamming codes and other error detection codes are not there in our syllabus, we will try to have a look about those also if required. Because when at any point of time in the examination, if there are questions are given out of the syllabus also, sometimes it is very better to discuss about the extra topics also. But as the time does not permit us to discuss all, first let me concentrate on completion of the syllabus. Then if we are on at safe level, then we may discuss about the extra topics which are not there in the syllabus also. This ends your part 2 of your first unit data representation. And as I told you, again you have any doubts or queries, you are feel free to call me and also mail me. Already some of the students are calling me to clarify their doubts, and I appreciate all the students, those who have submitted their assignment, and those who are not submitted. I am giving a sweet warning that by at least today end you can submit to avoid less marks for the assignment. Okay, in next session we will discuss about the third part, the arithmetic operations of various number systems like addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, etc. You have discussed about already addition and subtraction by using a 2's complement. But how with a circuitry diagram we will perform those addition subtractions, and multiplication and division with the help of addition and subtraction, how to perform multiplication and division. And there are some algorithms also will be given for multiplication and division process. Those algorithms and in detail we will discuss from the next session onwards. So with this I am going to conclude this session 8 which ends topic 6 of your second part of 3 parts in the first unit out of total 5 units. Thank you one and all. Thank you very much.